There are people who go quiet at parties, not because they're bored, not because they're shy, but because they saw something. And once you see it, you can't really laugh over it. Someone made a joke. Light-hearted, they said. Harmless, the room agreed. But in that half second before the laughter hit, you caught it. The flinch. The way the target's face reset just a fraction too fast. The way the speaker's eyes did this quick little sweep of the room, checking who they'd successfully held. You saw a power move dressed up as humor. And now you're the problem. Your silence rings louder than their laughter. Because the room didn't want the truth. It wanted the performance. What you just paid, that entry fee into reality, that's what I want to talk about today. It's called the Sanity Tax. And it might be the most expensive recurring charge in your life. Here's what's fascinating to me. We've been taught to treat this kind of awareness as a malfunction. We gave it a clinical name, social anxiety. We gave it a social label, too sensitive. And both of those diagnoses share one quiet assumption, that something in you needs to be corrected. But let's actually look at what's happening in that room. While most people are running on what you could call social autopilot, consuming the surface, processing the obvious, your brain is doing something categorically different. You're performing forensic social analysis in real time. Micro-expressions, tonal inconsistencies, the gap between what a person says and the precise moment they chose to say it. That's not noise, that's data. Psychologist Leon Festinger called the result of this cognitive dissonance, that acute discomfort of holding two contradictory realities at once. Reality A, the group is telling you everything is fine. Reality B, your eyes are telling you it isn't. Most people resolve this pretty quickly. They just delete reality B. They choose the warmth of the group over the accuracy of their own perception. And honestly, it's cheaper. Neurologically, socially, emotionally, it just costs less. But your reality B doesn't delete. It stays. In high definition, sitting right next to reality A, both of them demanding processing power at the same time. That weight, the weight of carrying both, that's the tax. It's why you leave a fun dinner and feel like you ran a half marathon. You weren't just present. You were maintaining structural integrity, holding the truth in place while everyone around you let it collapse. Here's the part nobody really talks about. The watchdog is always a little lonely. That's not a character flaw. It's just evolutionary math. In the tribal past, exclusion from the group wasn't uncomfortable. It was fatal. So the human nervous system was calibrated over millennia to seek agreement, to mirror, to smooth things over, to belong. And it worked. For most people, it still works. But the watchdog has this second drive. And this one doesn't care about belonging. It cares about coherence, about the internal experience of not lying to yourself. Bessel van der Kolk, writing in The Body Keeps the Score, put it precisely. The core wound of psychological trauma is the loss of trust in your own knowing. When you stay quiet to preserve the group's comfort, you are gently, incrementally, teaching your brain not to trust its own eyes. Psychologists call what builds over time moral loneliness. Not the loneliness of being alone, the loneliness of being surrounded by people who are operating on a version of reality you cannot access. If you speak, you lose the room. If you stay silent, you lose yourself. Every social interaction becomes a negotiation you didn't agree to enter. You want to be part of the laughter, you genuinely do. You want the ease of it, but you cannot laugh at something you know to be a construction. So you sit in the middle, present, watching, quietly exiled from a party you're physically standing in. Now, consider this for a moment. The world's prescription for this problem is pretty simple. Chill out. Stop taking things so seriously. Learn to let it go. And I want to be honest with you. I understand the appeal of that. It would be easier, genuinely easier, if you could just decide not to notice. But here's the mechanism. When perception operates at the level yours does, it isn't a volume dial you can turn down. It's a nervous system setting. Telling yourself to stop noticing isn't a mindset shift. It's asking your brain to stop doing what it was literally built to do. And if you succeeded, what would that actually cost? You'd have to blunt your perception, deliberately. Make yourself less precise, less empathetic, less attuned to the gap between what people perform and what they mean. You'd trade your vision, comfort. And here's the quiet truth that psychology keeps circling back to. That comfort is fragile. It depends entirely on no one ever naming what you can already see. Your discomfort, though, that's grounded in something real. The sanity tax is not a penalty for being broken. It's the price of integrity. Not integrity as some moral performance. Not integrity as a hero's burden. So, what do you actually do with the exhaustion? The first shift is a small one, but it changes things. Stop calling it anxiety. Anxiety is a fear response to something uncertain. What you experience is a response to something known. There's a fundamental difference there. Anxiety says something might go wrong. Your signal says something already is. You are a moral watchdog. And in every healthy ecosystem, biological, social, institutional, there is always an organism whose function is to register when something in the environment has shifted before the others do. That function is not a disorder. It's a role. The goal is not to stop watching. The goal is to find a way to pay the tax without going bankrupt. 3 things that actually help. And I mean actually, not just in theory. Find your second witness. One person, just one, who sees what you see. Not someone who validates you out of loyalty, but someone whose perception genuinely intersects with yours. When you share the tax, the bill doesn't disappear, but it halves. The isolation is the most expensive part, not the seeing itself. Accept the exile, deliberately. Stop spending energy expecting the people who aren't watching to acknowledge what you're carrying. Not because they're bad people, but because the blindfold is comfortable. And comfort doesn't tend to thank the person who removed it. Trust the body. When your throat tightens before someone finishes a sentence, when your stomach contracts at a wound that looks perfectly fine, don't ask, "What's wrong with me?" Ask, "What is this situation trying to conceal?" Your nervous system is sending data. It's not malfunctioning. The world, right now, is optimized for people who don't notice. It runs on surface-level interaction, on the performance of okayness, on this unspoken social agreement that if we all pretend the thing isn't there, it won't be there. Being someone who genuinely sees, that's heavy. It's isolating in a specific way that's really hard to explain to people who don't experience it. And it is expensive, in ways that don't show up on any ledger. But here's what I keep coming back to. As the noise gets louder and the constructions get thinner, and they are getting thinner, the capacity to distinguish signal from performance becomes exactly the kind of clarity the world runs out of. Your so-called malfunction quietly becomes one of the most valuable things in the room. So, pay the tax. Keep your eyes open. Because the only thing more costly than staying sane in an insane world is deciding it's not worth the effort. The question now isn't why you are this way. The question is what you choose to do with it. Tell me, when you notice something others are choosing not to see, do you usually speak up or go quiet? Drop it in the comments. You're not alone with this one.